Hi everyone. So today let's talk about Azure cluster management in Azure Databricks. Okay. So basically, what is cluster management? What is cluster? So it's a Spark cluster. So which is used to run any notebooks in Azure Databricks. So the notebooks where we write the Python code and run it as a job or schedule it as a job uh, to make specific functionality to work. So when it comes to cluster management, there are two types of clusters. One is all-purpose cluster. The second one is job cluster. So what is all-purpose cluster? So all-purpose clusters, it can be used during the development phase or developers to run or to invoke a node, to invoke a Python file using this all-purpose cluster to run it during the debugging time or during the development phase. Whereas job purpose cluster, it is specifically used to schedule these Python files in a job. So that means when you use job purpose cluster, when the job run, then it will go and invoke the job, invoke the Spark cluster, and it turns off as soon as the job finishes. So it saves the time, it saves the cost when you use the job purpose cluster. Whereas all purpose cluster, you have to manually switch on and turn it off once the job is done. So that is the cost saving and effective management of Spark cluster to run any job. So when to use this job purpose cluster? So let's take for example, if you want to schedule a job in ADF, you will make a connection to the Databricks and turn on this job purpose cluster whenever the ADF job is triggered or scheduled to trigger. So this is the basic difference between job purpose cluster and all purpose cluster. So the next thing in Azure Databricks, what is the purpose of Azure Databricks YUnit? So Azure Databricks, it is required to run heavy data analytics tasks, which is used by data analyst or data scientist. Like let's say, when you get a raw data from different sources through the jobs, all this data, it will be stored in ADLS. So we have to perform specific tasks like a data filtering, data analysis, data cleaning, everything on ADLS. So this is where the Databricks come into the picture. What you will do is, once the data resides in ADLS, you connect Azure Databricks to that file which resides on the ADLS and do this all manipulation. So how you do? You have written set of PySpark instructions in the PySpark file. So first you make a connection to the ADLS and do the data manipulation, whatever you want, like whenever you want to delete the data or truncate the data, or you want to do any conversions, everything you written in the PySpark file. And then the Spark cluster will run these files on top of ADLS. Once this Spark job finishes, that means we have the clear data available on ADLS. So this is where the Databricks will come into picture, and when you take ADF and Databricks, both will work in hand. So ADF is used to get the data from multiple sources and store it in a data storage, which is like ADLS. And in the Databricks, it will do all the data manipulations which resides on top of ADLS. So guys, yeah, this is about the Azure Databricks. What is the use of Databricks, and how do the Spark cluster management will work. So like what we discussed is what is all-purpose cluster and what is job cluster, and how it differentiate, and in what way we use job cluster, in what scenarios we use job cluster to save the time and cost effective. So yep, let's catch up in the next video with some other topic. Thank you guys. Bye bye.